Hello, I'm Donna, a 38-year-old woman who has recently freed herself from a stifling marriage. The decision to part ways with my husband felt like reclaiming my true freedom. Allow me to share the story of my ex-husband, Michael. Michael and I first met through a blind date set up by a mutual friend. From the beginning, he was undeniably handsome and possessed an irresistible charm. He seemed to be everything I had ever wanted in a partner. We shared numerous interests and our conversations flowed effortlessly. For the first 7 months, we enjoyed a casual dating phase, taking turns planning exciting and enjoyable activities. Once we officially became a couple, our dynamic outings continued, and a year later, we moved in together. It was during this time that I became aware of Michael's unstable financial situation. Despite offering advice to help him advance professionally, he rarely took it seriously. Nevertheless, he earned enough to meet his needs, and I was prepared to support us both financially. 3 years into our relationship, we married and a year later, decided to buy a house. I secured the mortgage in my name alone due to my superior credit score, a decision that now seems fortuitous. However, 4 years into our marriage, I noticed a troubling shift in Michael's behavior. He became increasingly demanding and stopped contributing to household chores, claiming to be too busy with work. Despite my understanding and efforts to manage everything on my own, the burden became overwhelming. I addressed the issue with Michael, who would briefly promise to improve, but we soon fell back into old patterns. I tolerated this out of love and a desire to support him fully, but it took a toll on our relationship, especially in terms of leisure and enjoyment. It was under these strange circumstances that I discovered Michael's infidelity. I stumbled upon his affair quite unexpectedly. He had left his phone unlocked while taking a shower. I had no intention of snooping. I just wanted to charge his phone when a notification caught my eye. It was a message from a woman named Isabella, asking Michael how long it would be until he left his pathetic wife to meet her at a nearby motel. The shock and heartbreak were immediate. I couldn't believe Michael was capable of such betrayal. Our marriage had seemed solid, with Michael always greeting me warmly and us rarely arguing. The pain was overwhelming, a mix of tears and nausea as my world seemed to crumble. In that moment, I knew I had to confront the situation head-on. I left Michael's phone exactly as I found it, with the message still open, ensuring he would know I had seen it. When Michael emerged from the shower and saw his phone, he instantly realized I was aware of the affair. He tried to evade the conversation, but I was determined to address it. "I know about the affair," I said. "Let's talk about it." "I don't think we should," he replied. "Who is she? I'm sure you saw enough to know her name. When did it start?" "A year ago," he said, avoiding eye contact. "Can we not do this right now?" "Why did you start seeing her?" I pressed. "Please, let's not do this," he pleaded. "Don't call me babe." "Tell me," I insisted. "I don't know," he said. "I guess I just missed the thrill of someone new, someone on the same wavelength as me." "So not on the same wavelength as you?" I asked. "Well, I wouldn't say that exactly," he said. "It's just that you've become a bit dull. You never want to go out, you're always tired, and our social life, and even our life in the bedroom, has faded." "You realize I'm always tired because I handle all the chores and work full-time," I retorted. "You've never once offered to help." "That's just your role as my wife," he said. "I told you to stay at home, but you refused." "That still doesn't excuse you from contributing to the house," I said. This confrontation marked a turning point, making it clear that our views on marriage and responsibilities were vastly different. His words and actions shattered the trust and respect I thought we had. "I can do whatever I want," Michael declared, his words slicing through the tension in the room. "If that means having an affair for some fun, then so be it." His distorted view of freedom within our marriage was startling and painful. I had hoped we could discuss this and possibly repair our relationship, but his stance made it clear that was no longer an option. "I don't think anything will change," he continued dismissively. "You're just too dull. I'm happy to stay married, but I'll keep seeing Isabella. I need some space from you." His tone was cold and unapologetic as he retreated to another room, leaving me to grapple with the weight of his words. Michael's disregard and detachment were devastating. He had reduced me to a mere role within our home, despite never having previously held such outdated views on gender roles. It was apparent that he had been influenced by podcasts promoting the idea that women were too outspoken and needed to be controlled. Witnessing his transformation into someone who not only embraced these harmful ideas but also failed to acknowledge their damage was heart-wrenching. Soon after, I heard the front door slam. Michael had left to meet Isabella. Overcome by a profound sense of abandonment and betrayal, I could no longer bear the solitude or the storm of emotions crashing over me. In my distress, I called my best friend Judy. She answered right away, sensing the urgency in my voice. Within moments, she was at my door with comforting hugs and tubs of ice cream. She didn't press for details. Instead, she held me as I cried. When I finally composed myself enough to speak, I shared the painful revelation with her. Michael is cheating on me, Judy. It's true. Are you sure? She asked, concern etched on her face. Absolutely, I replied. His phone was unlocked, and I saw a message from a woman asking when he was leaving his pathetic wife to meet her. What did you do? Judy inquired. I confronted him, I said, tears welling up again. He barely wanted to talk about it. Judy stayed with me through the night, offering silent, steadfast support as I faced the harsh reality of my crumbling marriage. As we sat together, the gravity of my situation began to sink in, and though the future remained uncertain, I was grateful for her unwavering presence. I knew I wasn't alone anymore. I finally confronted Michael and uncovered the painful truth. He had been cheating on me for a year. His excuse was that I had become too boring, always too tired and never up for anything fun. Despite managing almost everything at home, he dismissed my efforts, insisting it was simply my role as his wife. Well, if that's the role of a wife, then his role as a husband should have been more honorable, I told Judy, still reeling from the shock. Instead, here he is, cheating on me. Judy shook her head in disbelief. That's just a pathetic excuse. Did he even apologize? Not for a second, I replied. He just blamed me and chose to spend the night with her. Honestly, Judy, if I had to face him now, I don't know what I'd do. So, what are you thinking of doing next? Judy asked. I'm not sure. Michael mentioned he's fine staying married, but there's no way I can continue like this. Listen, Judy said, why don't you stay with me until you figure things out? I'll help you through everything. That would be amazing. Thank you so much, Judy. I really appreciate your support. We spent the rest of the evening trying to unwind, watching our favorite movies. It was a welcome distraction, but the reality of my situation lingered in the back of my mind. The next morning, Judy helped me pack some things to bring to her place. Once settled in at her home, curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to look up Isabella. I still had access to Michael's social media on my phone, a privilege I had never abused before because I trusted him completely. I discovered that Michael had muted notifications for messages from Isabella, which explained why the affair had remained hidden until now. It turned out that Isabella was a coworker of his, actually someone who reported directly to him. She was 38 years younger than me and 11 years younger than Michael. Just that revelation alone was enough to make my stomach churn. This discovery solidified my decision. I needed to divorce Michael. I couldn't endure the betrayal, nor could I live with someone who saw me as merely an obligation. With Judy's unwavering support, I began taking steps to reclaim my life and dignity. Before filing for divorce, I needed to sort out a few things. Judy and I spent time strategizing not only about the logistics of the separation, but also about ensuring that Michael would face appropriate consequences for his betrayal. My first priority was to protect my finances. I transferred all the money I had contributed to our joint account into a personal account, ensuring that Michael had no access. In the days that followed, as I prepared to file for divorce, I heard nothing from Michael. It was a painful reminder of how little he valued our relationship. When I eventually returned home to collect more of my belongings, I found Michael lounging on the couch. His reaction to seeing me was as predictable as it was irritating. Where have you been? Why haven't you told me where you were? He demanded, his voice tinged with a faint concern that barely masked his real detachment. Why should I explain myself to you? You hadn't called once. Don't pretend to care now, I snapped, my patience wearing thin. I'm sorry, but discovering your infidelity because you found me too boring doesn't exactly inspire politeness. I added with a touch of sarcasm. Michael seemed taken aback, but he quickly redirected the conversation to finances. I noticed you withdrew a large sum from our joint account, he said, trying to sound casual but clearly concerned. Yes, I took back my money, I replied. Why should I let you squander what I've worked hard to earn? He frowned and said, What do you think you're doing? You need to put that money back. Or what? I challenged. Are you going to kick me out, move in with Isabella, and have your sister take my place here? I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of his threats. Put the money back in 3 hours, or I'll make sure everything changes by tomorrow, he said, his tone growing menacing. I responded with silence, walking past him to our room. I quickly packed up the rest of my clothes and essentials, leaving him to stew in his frustration. Back at Judy's place, I recounted the entire encounter. Judy was furious on my behalf and insisted we consult the lawyer immediately. Fortunately, she knew someone who could help. We met with her lawyer friend, who first asked about the house. I explained that both the mortgage and the house title were in my name alone, a result of my well-paying job in a niche field. This detail was crucial as it meant I had significant leverage in the upcoming legal proceedings. With Judy's support and the lawyer's guidance, I felt better prepared to face the challenges ahead. Since I earned significantly more than Michael, it made sense for me to handle the mortgage and purchase the house, establishing it entirely in my name. This financial arrangement was straightforward and practical given our respective incomes. I had also taken care of everything the house needed. When I consulted with my lawyer about the impending divorce, he reassured me that the house would legally remain in my name, which lifted a weight off my shoulders. He also explained that if Michael's sister, Karen, moved in without my consent. Despite the tension, Michael informed me the next morning that Karen had moved in, citing my failure to reverse the money transfer. I kept the conversation brief, which only fueled his anger. He ended the call abruptly. Following my lawyer's advice, I began recording all conversations with Michael to maintain a reliable record for potential court use. My strategy moving forward was straightforward. I would issue Karen an eviction notice. If she complied, that would end the matter. If not, I was prepared to pursue legal action. Given our strained history, I anticipated it wouldn't be simple. Karen had always shown a peculiar hostility towards me, frequently trying to overshadow me in petty ways. She even attempted to disrupt our wedding and competed with me over trivial matters. Our relationship had deteriorated to the point where I had to limit contact with her. Michael, overly protective and indulgent toward his sister, often placed me in uncomfortable positions. Karen's resentment grew when she realized she couldn't outshine me, leading her to steal from our home during her visits. I would notice missing items, designer clothes, shoes, and skincare products. Michael urged me to overlook these incidents, rationalizing that Karen's frugal lifestyle justified her taking some luxuries. I strongly disagreed and eventually banned her from visiting our home altogether. Although neither Michael nor Karen was pleased with this decision, Michael was powerless to challenge it due to the legal standings and my control over the property. Determined to protect my interests and ensure a fair resolution to our marital breakdown, I was ready to stand my ground. Having had enough of Karen's antics and theft, I explained the extent of her actions to Michael. He understood that the damage was significant, but Karen continued to provoke me. One day, she called to gloat. "Hello, Donna. Guess where I am right now?" I remained calm. "Michael told me you've moved in." "That's right," she boasted. "I have this huge, glorious house all to myself, something you don't." "I still do have the house," I replied. "I've already sent an eviction notice your way, and you have 4 days to move out." She laughed derisively. "An eviction notice from you? Like I'm going to follow through with that. This is my brother's house, and he told me I can stay here, so I will." "It's not his house, Karen," I said firmly. "Regardless of what Michael told you, the legal documents show that the property is mine." Yeah, marital property or whatever, but he has all the power here," she insisted, misunderstanding the situation. "He decided this was the best thing to do." "You really can't stop talking, can you?" she snapped, trying to hurt me further. "I see why my brother chose someone else." "Fine," I said. "I have nothing more to say. Goodbye." I ended the call, but not before hearing Karen's spiteful laughter. If she didn't vacate within the 4-day deadline, I was fully prepared to take her to court. I had all the legal backing I needed. Unsurprisingly, Karen informed Michael of our conversation, and within an hour, he called me enraged. He questioned my audacity to issue an eviction notice. I chose not to respond to his anger. In the next 4 days, 2 significant events unfolded. First, I had the divorce papers served to Michael, and he shockingly decided to contest them. Second, Karen had still not moved out. True to my word, I had a court summons delivered to her. Legally, she was now considered a squatter. When Karen received the summons, she was visibly shocked to learn that the house was in my name, not her precious brother's. She confronted me, accusing me of trickery. I responded firmly, I gave you ample warning and time to leave. I even sent you a formal eviction notice. The reality of her situation was finally dawning on her. I was ready to uphold my rights, no matter what. Karen's refusal to heed my warnings led her to face the consequences in court. My lawyer presented a solid case, including the eviction notice and recordings of phone calls where I repeatedly asked Karen to vacate the premises, which she blatantly refused. In my state, squatting was a serious offense, resulting in Karen being charged with a Class A misdemeanor. The look of utter defeat and humiliation on her face was deeply satisfying after enduring years of her antagonism. After the court proceedings, Michael and Karen, still unable to accept the defeat, confronted me at Judy's place, where I had been staying. "How could you do that to my little sister?" Michael demanded. "Your little sister has made my life miserable for years, and I finally put a stop to it in the only way I knew how," I replied, my frustration evident. "A decision you initially agreed with. Yet the moment I stood up for myself, you sided with her," Michael argued. "So the house suddenly became an option because we're separating. If we weren't, would you have snuck her in?" I cut him off. "Save it, Michael. I don't want to hear any more. I'll see you in court." "How is the house even in your name?" "My brother's name isn't on any of the documents. I've been paying off the mortgage and handling repairs for the past 4 years," I explained. "No matter how much your brother contests it, he won't gain any ownership of the house. All he'll get is a much lighter wallet." Karen interjected, clearly not understanding the legal situation. "You think I set him up?" "I did nothing of the sort. Your brother believed in being the man of the house but avoided real responsibilities, preferring that I handle everything while he enjoyed the benefits. Thank God that won't be my problem anymore," I retorted, my patience wearing thin. I slammed the door in their faces, ending the conversation. In the weeks that followed, Michael, realizing he couldn't win the house, decided to contest every single possession we shared, down to the most trivial items like our dessert spoons. The battle was petty and exhausting, but I was determined to fight for my peace and freedom. For every item Michael claimed as his, I had the receipts clearly showing who had paid for them. In truth, he hadn't contributed much, so his share was minimal. While Michael was preoccupied with this petty squabble, I took action on another front. I sent screenshots of his inappropriate communications with Judy to his company's HR department. Within 2 weeks, Michael was terminated from his job. Surprisingly, Isabella was not. I learned from some of Michael's colleagues, with whom I had remained friendly, that she had argued Michael coerced her into the relationship by threatening her professional standing. Understandably, their relationship did not survive this revelation. It took some time, but eventually, the divorce was finalized, and I was officially free to celebrate my newfound freedom and the successful resolution of a complex situation. Judy and I enjoyed a long celebration. It felt like a double victory. The last update I received on Michael and Karen was less than glamorous. They ended up living together in a modest apartment, both struggling to find jobs. Their parents were supporting them with a modest allowance, but they were far from pleased with their actions. My former in-laws even reached out to apologize for their children's behavior, a gesture that helped bring some closure to the entire ordeal. Now free, I looked forward to what life had to offer next. The entire experience reinforced a valuable lesson: never forget my worth. It also showed me that I could handle myself in tough situations. A force to be reckoned with. Here's to moving forward stronger and wiser. Cheers.